Helen and I were married in 2006. In 2012, God started pulling on our heart to go to the mission field. At that point, our children were 17, 18, and 19 years old. We went on our first mission trip together. We went to Israel, and we were adult baptized in the River Jordan. We came home and
We were seeking out organizations. We were going to different countries. In the meantime, we sold our house, moved into a little townhome that we didn't have to worry about maintaining. We could lock the door and leave whenever God called us.
yeah, and that fall after we sold our house, we traveled to Armenia. Because we traveled to Armenia, we were introduced to an organization called Hope International. And we have been traveling with Hope International for the past 6 years.
Tim's background is in agricultural finance. Hope International, being a microfinance organization, fits in perfect for him. Tim is volunteering for Hope International, and I am thinking I'm along for the ride. Well, I met some people who had orphan care, so I would go with them on the train to different villages and visit the orphanages. And my heart just broke. These kids, they just wanted families. They needed love. And I never imagined that I would be called to adopt, but I could certainly give love. And so we would go, we would play, and we would just be there for those kids.
So God has taken Helen and I all over the world, and as we look back, what we can see is the tapestry that God has put together in our lives, and what experiences that we had traveling with Hope International led us up to a situation that occurred on October 29th, 2018. I noticed a Facebook message that was shared from a missionary friend that we know in Ukraine.
One of the friends that does orphan care.
And Clinton shared a post from a lady from Alabama that has a hosting program that hosts orphan children from Ukraine to the United States. It had a picture of this girl by the name of Nadia and a little story about Nadia's situation. I felt at that moment when I looked at that picture, God told me, "This is your daughter." So after I looked at the picture, I turned my phone to Helen and I said, "Helen, what do you think?" And what was your response?
We could adopt her.
We didn't think about whether or not we can adopt Nadia, whether
Or should.
or whether we're in a right stage of our life. God said, "This is your daughter," and we said, "Okay."
And it was really a situation where it was like, okay, if God is presenting this child to us to be our daughter, we're going to move forward and He'll make it work. And if that's not what He's saying, if it's something that's in us, He'll get it stopped before it's too late.
We started the home study, the paperwork, all the paperwork for the adoption process. But one thing that God is so cool, when I was in Rwanda, Africa, I had a business trip to Ukraine. God opened the doors and I was able to go into the orphanage and see Nadia. She didn't know the reason why I was there at the orphanage. This was this guy from the United States. She remembers having snowball fights with me. I think that's what you like the best. One thing that is also so wonderful, last summer, she came to stay with us at her home in Rosemont for 3 weeks, just to see the smile on her face when I told her the story of why I saw her at the orphanage. And we have a picture of me holding her and praying with her, and she remembers it. Yeah, it's the daughter that God is giving us now. And we are taking off and flying to Kyiv, Ukraine on Saturday, February 8th. On February 13th, we meet with the Ukrainian government to get registered and get permission to go into the orphanage and see our daughter.
It started off our plan that Tim is doing what comes naturally to him, agricultural finance, and yet God was using all of that, all of those years to get us to Nadia.
We've learned, Helen and I have learned over the past 6 years to be excited about the unknown. Because we can look back and see what God has done in our lives, and none of it we anticipated, or our plans, but we look back and we say, wow, we say thank you. We do believe that this young girl is a gift from God into our lives.
And one of the most exciting things for me is how God has grown me. I look back at the person that I was when Tim and I first started thinking about being on mission. His plans truly are better than anything that we could ever imagine.
So over the last 6 years, we've been traveling the world on mission for God, because our desire is the Great Commission to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. But God said that's enough. Here's a daughter, so we're coming back to Rosemont, to the community. She'll be a freshman at Rosemont High School this fall.
And I anticipate that she will be dancing in the aisles of Lighthouse Church.